Hey, it's Couch Potato. I'm back with another video. I know it's been a while, but with moving out of state and everything that I have to do, like switch up all my car stuff and getting into my new rhythm and everything, just taking a little time, so bear with me. But I do plan on making more videos eventually. It's just things are a little hectic right now, but it's been a great move so far, and I'm home in Carolina now, so uh, if you're nearby, maybe I'll see you sometime. So this video is about video game collecting fatigue and burnout. And I got this idea listening to a podcast for Magic the Gathering, and they were talking about how you can get burned out on playing that game with all the sets coming out and stuff like that. If you ever played it, you know what I'm talking about. But video game collecting fatigue is just as real. I see a lot of people that start off gung ho, buy as much as they can, and then they quickly say forget it or get burned out by it, and then they sell everything that they have, or they just get out of the hobby completely. So I think it's important to talk about video game burnout and how it might affect you, or it might affect you in the future, or you might have already been feeling it before. I'm not gonna lie, I feel video game burnout or video game collecting burnout pretty regularly. There's been many days where I think I'll just sell all my collection, take a nice vacation, or bank the money, whatever. I know I'm not gonna get top dollar for everything, but I can get a good chunk of change for the games that I have. So you know, it would be something to do if I really chose to do it, if I had to get money for an emergency or whatever. But I do get the feeling of selling everything that I have pretty regularly, like I said. And sometimes I just sell off a few games just to get that like itch out. So that's a little tip that I have. If you starting to feel burned out, maybe sell the games that you care the least about and then see how you feel. If I sold a large chunk of my PlayStation 1 collection, and I don't really regret it at all. I don't miss the games. I probably would never play them anyway. So what I did is I sold a lot of my PlayStation 1 games because I knew I wasn't going to play them. I'm not a big fan of PlayStation 1. I think the games look really dated. The graphics are pretty bad, and the controls, for a lot of the games are pretty crappy. So I just sold them. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just gonna sell them. There's ways that you can emulate PlayStation games, whether it's PC or certain handheld systems like the Vita. I believe you can hack that and play PlayStation games. So I was like, if I ever want to play a PlayStation game, I'll find a way to do it. And so I sold that and used that money towards a different part of my collection, and that kind of reignited my flame for collecting. So I sold a lot of my PS1s, and I started collecting heavily for the PlayStation Vita, and I became, in love with the Vita, and I loved collecting for it. So that's another thing of advice that I have is getting rid of stuff that you don't care about, or if you're done with a system. I have my Sega Genesis collection, and it is my childhood. Like, I grew up playing the Sega Genesis. It was like pretty much my whole childhood, and a lot of good memories, fun memories. But I'm at the point now where I'm probably not going to play them anymore. I've already bought all the games that I used to play as a kid, and I've already played through them, or as much as I wanted to play with them. And now I'm just at a point where I'm thinking about selling off most of my Sega Genesis collection, because that's another one I can just find emulations for. There's a lot of Sega Genesis collections for like Xbox One, PS4, and things like that. So there's ways I can still play a lot of the games that I love. I might keep some of the games that are harder to, find on those type of collections, but the other games I'm probably going to get rid of and then use that money towards other things for my collection. Same thing my Xbox 360 collection, I have like, I don't even know, 400 games, and I just kind of got burned out on it. You know, I bought all the games that I cared about or wanted, or that I was willing to spend money on. There's still a lot of 360 games that I want. I just don't want to spend the money on them right now. A lot of the Japanese shoot 'em ups, I just don't feel like paying $150 for one game at this point in time. If I'm going to do that, you know, it had to be something I really love. I'm not looking to spend a lot of money on one particular game unless, you know, I really want to play it or it really like sticks in my brain. So that's just another thing for video game burnout. Sometimes it's good to just take a break. Like with the move down here and all, I decided to cut back on my video game buying. I've only bought like 2 or 3 games since I moved, and that was almost 2 months ago now. Whereas before, I'd be buying, you know, games all the time and scouring, you know, Facebook Marketplace and eBay and all that stuff. But I just decided, you know, I've just moved. I'm going to just take a break. You know, moving is expensive. So I was like, I don't want to spend a lot of money on games right now because I need to have money for different things for the move. And it was just, it's good to take a break sometimes. Sometimes you just go do something else, find something else to do, and then you can come back to collecting. It's not like it's going anywhere. The games are still going to be around. Yeah, some games might be a little bit more expensive, but you'd be surprised. Some games might drop a little bit. There's a couple games that I had bought in the past that I paid, you know, top dollar for, and I've seen them fall in price, and I'm just like, yeah, I got hosed on that one because if I would have waited a little bit, I would have got it for a better price. But you know, that's just a risk you got to take in this hobby. And sometimes you get things a really good deal, and then later it shoots up in price. Sometimes you'll have to pay top dollar for something that you really want, and then see it drop in price when popularity for it dies out or whatever. I think a good example of this was Earthbound. Was really expensive not too long ago, and I've seen the price fall on that, you know, over the past year or whatever. So there's some people who probably bought Earthbound when it was at the peak, and now they're like, dang, I could have got it for a little bit less. So, you know, video game burnout definitely can happen. It can affect you, and it affects me. And if anyone who collects video games tells you that they don't get burned out at some point, they're lying. You have to, you know, take breaks. If you're going to go gung-ho, have a plan. And if you feel like you're losing interest in the hobby, maybe do what I said. Sell off some of the games you don't care about and then shift your focus to something else. You know, next I might sell my Genesis games and start focusing on the Switch. Nintendo Switch is pretty nice handheld. I was totally wrong about it. I'm going to make a video about that, but I thought it was just a gimmick that was going to die out, but it's, you know, it's killing it right now. And so yeah, sometimes you just gotta ride the waves. It's just like life. Sometimes it's gonna be awesome, and then sometimes it's gonna be really bad. And you just gotta ride it out knowing that there's a better time ahead, and you might just take a break from collecting completely for a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever, and then you'll get back into it again. The thing that I hear the most, and I wanna say this in this video since we're talking about burnout and all, the thing I hear the most is people who get burned out sell their entire collection and then they regret it shortly after, whether it's a month later or 6 months later, but they regret selling it because the fire gets sparked in them again and they want to get back into it, and then they realize, dang, I gotta pay more money for all the games that I already purchased before that I sold. And when you sell video games, whether you like it or not, you're not going to get top dollar because everyone is trying to get a bargain. So you might have paid retail for something, but you're going to end up selling it for less than that. There's few instances, you know, there are games that I have that I paid like $3 for, and now they're worth like $40, $50, but that's not a normal thing. They usually either flatline or go down in price. So you just got to realize if you get burned out, before you go selling off your collection, just take a break from it completely. Just leave your collection sitting there. Play the games that you bought. Enjoy the games that you bought. That's another thing that I just thought of is what I'm doing now since I haven't been buying as many games as I used to. I'm just enjoying the games that I purchased. You know, I've been going through playing games. I'm playing Division 2 right now, having a lot of fun with that. I love that style of game. I was playing the Titan Quest remastered. I love dungeon crawlers, and I was playing um, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I really enjoy. I love Greek mythology. It's amazing. But yeah, just enjoy what you have. If you're feeling burned out from collecting, maybe just stop collecting and start enjoying the games that you currently play or that you currently own, and then also decide, you know, what you want to do long term. Maybe sit down and really evaluate, you know, where you want to be, what you want your collection to be like. Do you have a lot of games in there that you don't really give a crap about, but there's games that you want that you actually do care about? So maybe try to sell off the games that you don't care about and get the games that you do care about. Sometimes it's good to have, you know, a focus and a list, like I did with a lot of my PS1 games. I sat down, said, hey, I don't really care about PS1, but I'm really loving the Vita right now. So I sold off all that, started collecting Vita. My fire got sparked in me again, and I went gung-ho on the Vita, and I'm over 100 games on the Vita right now. So yeah, it's going to happen. It'll happen, or it might have already happened. Just got to ride it out, and that's all. One love.